For Pledge Allegiance. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. Madam President, if it'd be okay, I can postpone my report till after, and we can get on with the rest of the agenda so we can move forward.
All right, that's fine. So next we have recognition of exceptional volunteers.
Yes, so we're very excited to recognize our exceptional volunteers. And stop, so you can do that. We have people within our district that have done a tremendous amount, and we want to quickly honor them tonight. I'm going to ask the principals to come up, and they're only going to have 1 minute to go through and just acknowledge these people as we go through, but we want to make sure that we have a wonderful opportunity to just celebrate them and all they bring to our school districts. So.
Thank you. All right, we're ready. Yeah.
Okay. So Lauren, you want to start?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Lauren Griggs, and I'm really happy to be the principal of Adams Middle School. And I'm here tonight to acknowledge our exceptional volunteer who is not able to join us this evening, but her name is Yvette Gomez, and she has been an absolute blessing to our site. She donates to our... Thank you. She donates to our coffee cart, which is run by our SDC students. She owns Chill Coffee, and she helps provide coffee for our teachers. She helps our students deliver and work on their communication skills, their financial skills, and she brings a lot of joy and cheer, which we all could use. Thank you, Yvette, from somewhere else.
Hello, I'm Guy Rawls, principal of Brentwood Elementary, and I want to honor Mary McDonald. Come on up, Mary, as our exceptional volunteer. Mary volunteers in our Reading Academy, our Reading Intervention, and when she agreed, she didn't realize it was going to be a 2-year gig because she's been going on it for 2 years. She works in our Bulldog Club, and her view is she has so many hats that she wears that she gets to see the whole overall picture. She gets to see it from the special ed, the regular ed, the intervention, the grandparent perspective, and she holds the students accountable. They treat her like a staff member, and she's formed relationship with students, and to be volunteering 4 days a week in Reading Academy, it's unmeasurable of the impact that you have. So I just want to say thank you very much for that.
Hi, I'd like to honor Miss Tammy Evans. Who has been volunteering at Bristow consistently all year, almost every lunch, helping us supervise and also building relationships with students. She has been an amazing part of our team and really part of our family at Bristow. So thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. I have the privilege of honoring Mrs. Pantel. Mrs. Pantel. Thank you. Last year, we had an idea to create a memorial garden on our site. And the memorial garden is specifically to honor staff, perhaps that has passed away. And so what we do is we fill the garden with their favorite flowers. And she graciously volunteered, brought the soil, not herself, but had a team, and brought the flowers, comes in, makes sure that everything looks good, helps with watering, helps with the upkeep, and we just appreciate her. She also oftentimes will show up to our meetings just to support, and so we appreciate you. Thank you for all that you do, and we look forward to our continued partnership.
All right, it is my absolute honor to honor Sabrina Harper. Sabrina has been a part of the Garin PTA for at least the last 10 years. She has served in almost every position on the board at PTA. She is been my right hand and parent connection for the last 3 years. So I super appreciate that part. And I think that my staff believes that she is part of our staff, although I do not cut her a paycheck. We really appreciate everything she does. And she does her best work on this very week, which is our Staff Appreciation Week. So I know that from the bottom of all of our staff's heart, we super appreciate you. And we are going to miss you when you move on.
Good evening. I'm Brian Jones, principal at Cray. We'd like to welcome up Sandy and Ken DeSilva, both of them. Thank you, guys. So Sandy, she's kind of all over the place. She's in the library, she's in the classroom, back to the library, the workroom, doing a little bit of everything to help stock books in the library. She's helping our teachers be organized, running copies, being very busy around the campus. And Ken, we appreciate that you're always out at the school site with the Astronomical Society from Mount Diablo and helping us look at the stars and the planets, and also volunteering at Adams Middle School to support his granddaughter's gate class under Mrs. Ranger. And so we just feel very thankful that you're both on campus helping support us. Thank you. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Julie Croy, the proud principal at Loma Vista. I get to honor Jade McLean tonight. She was unable to join us tonight, but she is our LVPC treasurer. She also runs our Jogathon fundraiser, which this year raised almost $40,000 that went directly to buses for field trips, supplies for classrooms, and many other things. So I'd like to just thank Jade for everything that she does.
Okay, our exceptional volunteer from Marsh Creek is Shannon Lewis. Come on up, Shannon. So Shannon's been a parent at Marsh Creek for many years, and she's done an amazing job. She's an amazing human being. So even more so than being a volunteer, she's just a kind and generous person. Some of her favorite things is she likes to make copies, and we love that. So she's a big helper, and she's revamped our big event, made it, she's transformed the space. It's something she likes. I've heard her say. She likes to transform spaces to make it feel magical. And so I know she's been instrumental for all of us. So thank you, Shannon.
Good evening. My name is Maria Gonzalez, principal at Mary Casey Black Elementary School. And I'd like to welcome Melissa Bosco, our exceptional volunteer of the year. Oh, there you are. There's a lot I can say about Melissa, but I was told I had to keep it really short. And so I just want to say that this year, Melissa has really stepped in with our community celebrations. And I wanted to highlight that because across our school, every month, we're doing something big to celebrate all of our families and our community. And so that's all because of Melissa's work behind the scenes. And she's always around. So I always think that she sleeps somewhere on our campus. But I just want to thank you for everything you do. You are instrumental into everything that happens at Mary Casey Black, all the extracurricular activities, making it free for all families. $40,000 was raised this year. And so I just want to thank you very much for all your hard work.
Good evening. I'm Casey McClure, principal at Pioneer Elementary, and I'm excited to announce, unfortunately, AFTAB couldn't be here, but AFTAB NT is the Swiss Army knife of volunteers that's at our school, and I'm sure at your school too, if he could. He's a substitute teacher. He helps us with campus supervision, yard duty, loop duty, you name it, he does it. He steps in for art lessons and science lessons at any grade level, at any time. All you have to do is ask. And the best part about AFTAB is that when he's on campus, you will often hear him say multiple times in a day, "Is there anything else I can do?" He is an amazing human being. I wish that he could be here also. He could hear the applause that he deserves. But no, he's so popular at our school, he has his own t-shirt. His face is on a t-shirt. So congratulations to AFTAB.
Hi, I'm Nick Casey, principal of Ron Nunn School. We're very excited tonight to honor Brian Oftedal. Brian has served this year as our vice president of the Parents Club. He's been instrumental in bringing the Red Cross and safety programs to our school in multiple ways for all grade levels. I know he did some CPR training with Mrs. Workis's third graders recently. He has coordinated our celebrity guests for our morning walk and talk. He's always willing to help out, do anything we can. And he's single-handedly raised over $10,000 from our corporate sponsorships. So Brian couldn't be here tonight, but we're very excited to honor him.
If we could please have all of our exceptional volunteers stand up and give them one more round of applause. We want to thank you all for the tremendous impact that you have on your schools. We so appreciate you. So as you can see, this is going to be a very busy meeting tonight. And so what we'd like to do is, we were originally going to break for cake. We'd like to offer anybody that would like cake to come up and get it. We're going to take a very short 5-minute break, and then we're going to move right on with the meeting. And so especially exceptional volunteers, if you want to get your cake and then you want to go, you're welcome to. You're welcome to stay as well. And so we'd love to have you. So 5 minutes, we're going to start back up again. If you'd like cake, please come up and get it. let's go ahead and get started.
All right. If you have not brought up your public comments sheet, now would be a good time. I have a few sheets here. This is for public comment. At this time, the public is permitted to address the school board on items that are on the consent calendar, requests for future agenda items, and items that are not on the agenda. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes per person. While we encourage your comments, unfortunately, state law prevents us from discussing items that are not on our meeting agenda. Public comments can be made at this time or during the appropriate agenda item. We do take them very seriously, and if appropriate, staff will follow up. Public comments can also be submitted via email to nclevin@brentwood.k12.ca.us. Okay, so the first person I have.
We open public comment? Yes.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All right. The first person I have is Holly Bishop.
We made a statement regarding the new genderized sex ed curriculum the district forced on our children starting at 9 years old. For 4th and 5th grade, you had a quarter opt out and then a little over a quarter sit out. Most of those parents didn't opt those kids out, which puts us at half. You say you're following a California Healthy Act. Let me remind you that is not a law, just like a mandate isn't a law. Feelings aren't a fact, just like I can't feel like a millionaire when I walk into a bank. Interesting that it only works in certain areas. God was removed from schools because it infringed on people's personal beliefs. Where's the double standard on gender beliefs? The school needs to stick to the basics, period. But you spent over $66,000 on curriculum and up to $30,000 in a rollout, and you're only offering teachers a 0.25% raise. Wow. Now I know the money comes from separate budgets, but it does go to show from a business standpoint where the district's priorities are. The community is talking, and we're frustrated with the district with your forced sick agenda, lack of transparency. You don't even notify parents adequately. And the fact that time and time again, safety is a concern in our schools. We're fed up. Kids are flocking out of public school into private school, and the wait list is atrocious. Homeschooling enrollment has gone up, and teachers, I have a proposition for you. Parents are fed up, you're fed up, and we're ready to unite together. Parents are looking for assistance in homeschooling, and I personally know 15 students for 5th grade whose parents are willing to pay cash for assistance in classroom-like settings from a credentialed teacher. That would increase your salary, and we can get back to the basic teachings, plus the students will have a social interaction. Now, I concentrated on 5th grade, but I know tons of parents that are looking for the same thing. We're tired of fighting, and we are ready to unite. Contact me if you are a teacher and are interested. It's obvious the district could care less in regards to family values. I'm going to end this speech with a notification. Your middle schools are extremely concerning with the lack of supervision in the bathrooms, children's vaping, locker rooms in regards to bullying and theft, as well as allowing transgender adolescents to change in the locker room of their choice. I know the state protects them, but in this district, when is the district going to think of the majority and their feelings? These kids went to school with certain kids that were born, we'll say a boy, and then decided in 6th grade to become a girl. We never once thought about the majority of those girls who had a problem changing in front of that individual. I'm really hoping to see a change, and I'm hoping that you listen to the teachers today and the community. Thank you.
Next person is Debbie Lindstrom.
Okay. The first thing that I want to say is I never thought I would be standing here today giving this speech. I've been a school psychologist at Edna Hill for the past 5.5 years, and I have to say that it's been the honor of my life to work with the best staff I've ever worked with, the best administrators. I've admired this district, superintendent, all the way on down. And what's happened is I'm going to be retiring in 2 years, and I honestly thought that I would be retiring from Edna Hill. That was my dream. And when I see that I'm going to be getting a 0% raise, I did the math. And when I did the math, I figured I can be recruited almost anywhere and make 15% more. And that's 15% more for the rest of my life, as long as I live in my pension. It's basically based on the last year. So what I know is that there's a huge shortage of school psychologists, that a lot of times people are hiring them under contractors. They're paying double what they need to pay. And so what's happened is they're getting signing bonuses everywhere for school psychologists. Maria Coronado left, went to San Jose for 1 year, made $140,000. Now she's retiring. I hate to have to do it because I really love everybody so much, especially all the teachers. And I want, Kirsten and Lenore, Dana, everybody. It just breaks my heart, but I don't think I have any choice in the matter. And honestly, the reason I'm standing here is for the teachers, because the teachers told me that by talking, I might be able to move the needle a little bit. I think it's a little late for me. Also, another thing I want to say is that I was 20 years in Mount Diablo. They went 6 years without a contract, no raise. They lost 19 school psychologists. It was crazy. They ended up in a huge shortage. I predict the same thing is going to happen when somebody who has 28 years of experience can go somewhere else and negotiate. I'm really lucky. I don't think the teachers have that same option. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Next person is Erin Perez.
Good evening. My name is Erin Perez. I'm a mother of an 8th grader who attends Bristow Middle School. On May 7th at 3:30 p.m., my world was changed forever. Yesterday, I received a call from the Assistant Vice Principal, Mr. Turner, informing me that my daughter was in a fight. Once at the school, I was informed by my daughter that this occurred roughly 2 hours prior to me being contacted. The school took my daughter's phone and roughly 5 requests by my daughter. After 5 requests, I was notified at 3:13. Why? Once in the office, I talked to Ms. Perales. She told me that she didn't have any information for me because it was still under investigation. She stood by her decision not to call me after my daughter was in a fight. I never had contact with Mr. Turner after the initial phone call. However, my husband did. Mr. Turner was threatened by my husband, anger, because he asked why he wasn't called and why he took my daughter's property. He then called the cops. Although there were no threats made to the school, just anger as to why my daughter was not allowed to contact her parents. Ms. Perales called me that night to inform me of the consequences of my daughter and said that she was the aggressor and would receive 1 day of suspension. I asked to review the school tape and was told it wasn't allowed because there's other children on the tape. That's a lie. I met with Officer Boldinger today, the school resource officer, and was reviewed the tape and was told I reviewed the tape that I was told I wasn't allowed to see. I initially thought the incident occurred at 12:30, but it was approximately 1:30. In this video, a gang of 6 girls were planning their attack. As I encourage all of you to watch it, if you don't believe me. In the video, multiple times you see Delilah removing herself from the threat, backing up multiple times. In the same case, she had some teachers and some parents that were holding back the aggressors, but at no time did they remove my daughter. They were complacent. After multiple confrontations, my daughter was attacked. My daughter has always been taught to use her words, stand up for herself, and defend herself. And I'm extremely proud of my daughter because she was able to defend herself when Bristow failed to. She took down the threat. And once on the ground with the initial attacker, the 5 other girls that were now on top of her, trying to hurt her. Staff was involved, and however, this should have never happened. You can see the video. Watch the video. It's disgusting. The school should never, this has never got to this point. At no point should this been physical. Bristow failed to keep my daughter safe. So why wasn't my daughter removed? Why did you not remove the aggressive gang? In fact, y'all turned a blind eye. My daughter was able to eliminate the first attack, have her while on the ground.
Your time is up.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this. Ms. Perales told me that she was going to call me today so that we could have a plan of how safe my daughter would be tomorrow. She didn't call me. I just want to let you also know that I'm filing a restraining report on all these girls that attacked my daughter. I will file it with Pittsburgh.
Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you.
Yes.
Next person, Sierra Conrad. Is it on?
My name is Sierra Conrad.
Turn on the microphone.
Okay, go ahead. My name is Sierra Conrad, and I'm a second grader at Mary Casey Black Elementary School. I wanted to speak to you today because my teachers mean a lot to me. They help us learn and grow. Miss Reynolds taught me how to read and count. Miss Crane taught me how to add and subtract. Miss McCoy taught me how to write and blend sounds. Miss Doria made me a better reader. My teachers deserve a raise because they work hard and they are kind. Without teachers, the school is not a school. It's just a building. Please support our teachers and give them a fair contract. Thank you.
Next person is Chrissy Minks.
My name is Chrissy Minkst. I teach intervention at Guerin Elementary School. This is my 17th year, I believe, teaching. 3 minutes or 180 seconds. If I were to use 100% of that time to remind you that your most important asset are the people in this room, you would rightly assume that it's important to me. If I were to use 100% of that time to remind you that teachers are the ones that form the relationships with students, teachers are the ones that implement all of the curriculum that is given to us. Teachers are one of the only ones I can think of who work for free and overtime or actually get paid less than their hourly rate. And you would believe that those were very important to me if I took 100% of my time to do that. 2 minutes, 120 seconds. If I were to take this portion of your time to remind you of that, you might think perhaps it's not as important to me, but it's still more than half, so it must be important. I must feel strongly that the people in this room deserve to be recognized, not only for the work we do, which comes across in many different ways, but also in our actual pay. The way that the cut is rolling out and affects people is unbelievable. People are not able to afford insurance. They can't pay their rent. They can't buy gas. It's in effect a deficit. And I still feel very powerful about that because I did take 66% of my time to tell you that. One minute. That is 1/3 of my time. If I had waited to now to tell you that I think it's important that the personnel, the staff in this room get the raise they deserve. If I had waited this long to tell you that I think we need to value the personnel to attract and maintain teachers who are already dealing with too much stress in the classroom from everything else under the sun, that to have a salary to do that, to add that to it, you would think maybe that's important. She did use some time on it. If I waited till 30 seconds, you would think that really doesn't matter to her. She must not really care if she's using just a teeny tiny portion of the 3 minutes she is allotted to talk about this. And if I waited for the very few last seconds to tell you that, to remind you that the wealth of our district is right here in this room, if I waited until I only had 25 hundredths of a second left, can you do better than that?
Next person, Lynette Duke.
So let me think. 9, 4, and 2. That's how many years. Add them up. I was going to, but I didn't. But I've been a grandparent in this district. I have loved being a grandparent, picking them up from school, because my daughter is a teacher. She is a single mom, and I'm going to cry. She has 0 other income and has raised 2 beautiful kids, supporting one through college. The other one is a junior in high school. And I have another granddaughter that's just finished 4th grade. But my daughter, that's the teacher in this district, has had to take a pay cut because of health insurance. What does that affect? Her whole entire life. It affects her whole budget, which is very minimal as a single parent with 1 income and trying to maintain a household. You try it. You try it. You try it on her salary. You try to do that. I don't think you can. It breaks my heart. When she came to my house and she told me that her insurance was going to start actually taking money from her every month, she was in tears. Mom, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I said, you'll find a way. And you have insulted her and every single teacher in this district by your lame, and I can't even say the word enough, poor excuse for a raise offer. Are you kidding me? First you come back with 0%. Would you like to take that every year? Would you like to take 0%? Would you? I don't think so. I don't think so. You don't have to, so you have 0 idea of what it feels like as one of these teachers. You have no idea because you've never had to experience what they're experiencing. So the smug emotion, the smiles, they're so phony to me. I walked into this room and I couldn't even look to the right because I'm like, are you kidding me? My daughter is so stressed out with this. As I know every one of these teachers, I stand behind them 100%. I have 25 seconds left. You want to give them that much? 25.25%? Are you really serious now? You better take a real good look at how you're budgeting every year, how you budget a salary increase into your budget every year.
Next person is Victoria McPherson.
Hi, I am Victoria McPherson. I've been a teacher at Guerin for 26 years. I have some definitions, observations, and questions I'd like to present tonight. Value. The regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. Respect. a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Cost of living adjustment, otherwise known as COLA, an increase in benefits or salaries to counteract inflation. When elected, Dr. Eaton stated that a goal was to make sure he knows the district well, staying in touch with teachers and students. He hoped to visit every classroom in Brentwood's 11 campuses once a month. He also said that a leader needs to be out in the schools, the classrooms, the community, seeing with their own eyes and hearing firsthand accounts about the district. In his speech from last year, after being voted Superintendent of the Year, Dr. Eaton said we have fabulous teachers, that he works with great people, and he's part of a team. Many of our staff are single, including single parents that live paycheck to paycheck. Some of these staff members are at the top of the pay scale with no more steps for advancement. Some of these members have to work a second job just to make ends meet. 0.25% raise, which isn't really a raise, it'd be a cost of living adjustment, would mean an added $20.83 per paycheck for a teacher near the top of the pay scale. $20 a month won't even buy 4 gallons of gas right now. Surrounding districts are able to give their teachers COLA this year. We just heard that Oakley teachers each got a $500 check today. Many other districts are adding salary increases as well. Some surrounding districts pay for employee and family medical coverage. COLA passed on to employees is not a raise. It is an increase in monies paid in order to sustain the level of living that has been established. With ADA being worth about $1 million per percent, what is the district doing to increase attendance? Not the schools, not the principals, not the secretaries, not the teachers. But what is the district doing? It's a district goal and priority, but what are the people here doing for that? Is Dana staying in touch? Sorry, Dr. Eaton, is he staying in touch with his teachers? Why are we an afterthought, fighting for the crumbs that are left over? Why aren't we a line item on the budget every year? Why isn't COLA automatically passed on to us? It's not a raise. We are living beings. It's a cost of living adjustment. Teachers don't get overtime, but there is overtime in this district. How many people are getting paid that?
Thank you.
Why are we deemed worthless? Aren't we the biggest workforce, and aren't we worth more than nothing?
Your time is up. Next person is Kara Sawyer. Kara Sawyer.
Hello, all. I have to say, first of all, my name is Kara Sawyer and I teach at Guerin. And I am frustrated and angry and embarrassed to have to stand up here and beg and plead for a cost of living raise most every year. I am not going to share a personal story with you because I shouldn't have to. Teachers should just get a cost of living raise every year. Many companies automatically give it to their employees. Why not teachers? I know the district received over 8% COLA, so why wasn't some of that put aside for teachers? Things have increased so much this year, food, gas, everything, yet we weren't even considered. Instead, the district spent the money and you, the board, approved it. Your job, the board, is to set the direction of our district and to ensure accountability. Please remember us, since we are the ones working so hard to provide the overall development of our amazing BUSD students. Thank you.
Next person, Valerie DePola.
Hi, my name is Valerie DePaula. I have had the pleasure of working for this district for many, many years. I have worked alongside some outstanding teachers who go above and beyond. They work nights, weekends, come in on school breaks, and they don't get paid for that. We ask more and more and more of our teachers every single year. Every year. They need to be counselors. They need to be educators. They need to have conflict resolution. They have to referee. They have to be the nurse. That's just a little bit of what they have to do. You guys need to do better. This is unacceptable. This district needs to do better. We are going to lose valued teachers, amazing, exceptional teachers, because they cannot afford to live. They are already leaving their families, losing time with their families, taking money out of their own paychecks for their classroom, and now you want them to have even less. That's ridiculous. That's disgusting. I come from a long line of teachers. My grandma was a principal. She was a superintendent. She was a kindergarten teacher. My mom taught at UC Davis. I worked for this district as a para. Education is in my family. And I am right now currently trying to tell one of my daughters not to go into education, not to be a teacher. And it's because of this. I want her to be able to afford to take care of her family. I want her to be able to afford health insurance. I want her education to pay off. And you all need to do better. You are losing future teachers. You are going to lose current teachers. This is ridiculous. It's absolutely disgusting. Do better.
Next person, Beth Freeman.
Hi, my name is Beth Freeman. I am the parent of 3 amazing kids. Yes, I'm going to brag. And I have a lot of these teachers in here to thank for that. These teachers educated my children, and they're doing the same for all the other kids out here. It's really disheartening to know teachers that have to have second and third jobs in order to stay in our community and continue to teach our children. I also, a year ago, decided to leave a field that I worked in for 40 years, the dental field, and become a substitute teacher. I love what I'm doing. I so appreciate everything that you guys have to put up with every single hour, minute, day. I pose a question to the board and to all of the administrators. When was the last time you sat in a classroom and was in charge of that classroom? The fact that now the teachers are not even allowed, the schools are not allowed to suspend children for horrible behavior is appalling. I had a child in a classroom yesterday say, "F this." That child was back in the classroom today, and I get the privilege of spending 3 hours with that child tomorrow because of testing block. That's really sad. And that wasn't even the worst of it. She also stood there and said, "You know how stupid you look right now?" That's what these people have to put up with every day. You need to do better or you will lose quality teachers. And like I said, I know personally how quality these people are. Do better. Give them what they deserve.
Next person, Naomi Phillips.
My name is Naomi Phillips.
I have worked as a teacher under contract for BUSD since 2005. My entire tenure has been at Etna Hill, and I will be coming back for one more school year. I am speaking to you today regarding the 0.25 proposed raise that has been offered for this school year. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about my own personal story. I am the sole breadwinner. I am single. I will be 65 in October. I am also a breast cancer survivor, still going through continuing treatment. This means that health insurance is paramount for my long-term remission, and I want to thank you for reinstating the single-pay Kaiser benefit for this year. However, healthcare is not the only part of my life. The inflation rate has risen 4%. This means that the net income I make needs to be stretched further, again, with just myself as the sole breadwinner. Food, gasoline, everyday items, they have all increased in cost. And I'm really feeling the stress of making sure that my current paycheck stretches as far as possible. I'm actually in the position of taking a pay cut if you compare my income with the 4% inflation increase. I am also very concerned that I am not working under a contract for the 23-24 school year. The current proposal for waiting till figures are released in September seems to be an unreasonable request to make. I look at it like this. You require of me a high standard of professionalism. I, in turn, should be treated with the respect of a settled contract from BUSD. I am absolutely, I'm sorry. I am absolutely giving my all on a daily basis, no matter how I am feeling physically. My role as a TSA intervention teacher and ELD level 2 teacher, I see the toughest students and bring forth all the tools I have to be the best I can be on a daily basis and support all of them so they can achieve their own personal potential. In closing, I am honored to be a teacher for BUSD. I have deep roots within this district. I understand that the state of California has not followed through with their promises. However, it is very important that myself and all the teaching professionals I work with are valued and respected. A contract that states teachers receive 0.25% is not the message BUSD should send. You, as board members, have tremendous influence. I urge you to please look at the wider picture and see the teachers are the backbone of any district, and the teachers at BUSD deserve to have your ongoing support. Thank you.
Next person, Melissa Rosnick.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Rosnack. I am a teacher of second graders at Marsh Creek Elementary, and this is my 24th year in the school district. I initially didn't plan a public comment because I'm going to be part of the BTA presentation in a moment, but I want to ask one question and one question only. Why in the world are we meeting in this room? Were you unaware that there was going to be a large turnout tonight because it was on the front page of the Brentwood Press last week? So once again, you're putting teachers on the floor without a chair in the lobby. So all of these things are a representation of the way you were treating us. And I am not okay with that. We have moved school board meetings when you are aware in advance that there's going to be a large attendance. You should have moved this meeting. Thank you.
Next person, Jack Doria.
Hi, I'm Jack Doria, fifth grade teacher at Mary Casey Black Elementary. A fellow teacher recently posted a message that should be heard, and I'd like to share part of it with you this evening. In the private world, when a problem regarding pay and benefits arises, there are recourses. You can meet with your manager and ask for a raise, or you can begin to look elsewhere for a similar job with more pay. In the private world, the job change often results in 5 to 10% raise, although it's encouraged to ask for 10 to 20% higher than you're currently making. In our world, these are not an option. New teaching jobs do not provide 5 to 20% raises, and the salary schedule precludes an individual raise negotiation. For additional income, you have to take on a stipend position, which hasn't been increased in over 10 years, at less than your hourly rate. In the private world, overtime is 1.5 times your hourly rate. In our world, it is literally below minimum wage. The American education system is built on the back of unpaid and inadequately paid teacher overtime. Now, I've been teaching for 9 years, 12 in total with significant time as a substitute. Before that, I worked in the private sector as a software and database engineer. When faced with an employer that was inflexible with negotiating a small hourly adjustment to keep up with rising costs, I was told to look at the intangibles, which is kind of what it feels like right now. I immediately sought other employment and was rewarded with an increase larger than I was seeking. And the point here is that the teacher that wrote this post is accurate. I know this to be true for me and for many others during my time before teaching. I was doing well for myself, but it wasn't my passion. My passion was education, teaching, coaching, working with youth. I expected a lifestyle change as a teacher. I knew it would be difficult, but here are a few facts from my personal experience. I'm a teacher. I also coach water polo at Liberty High School, and I work as the director of a local water polo program. So I have a second job and a third. I'm a single dad and have raised 3 children, one of which still largely depends on me. I have no outstanding debt outside of student loans. No credit card debt, no car payment. In spite of that, my savings dwindled by nearly $5,000 over the first several years as a teacher. I was barely able to meet all the monthly obligations with no contingency for unexpected costs. Finally, it is seemingly impossible task to get my job done within contracted hours. I work extra hours into late afternoons and even came in on the weekends. Today, more and more is added to the list of responsibilities of a teacher, more demand and more stress, yet how does the public perceive us? They tell us to get summer jobs and ask why we're complaining about so much time off. I don't blame them. They're ignorant of the facts of life in education.
Thank you.
The district is not, and we deserve better than that.
The next person, Kate Penso.
Imagine you were considering a job offer. To qualify for this job, you need 5 years of higher education. To grow in this position, you'll need to stay with this company and continue your education at the same time at your expense until you have earned 90 units beyond your bachelor's degree, which is just about 30 units shy of a doctorate. At that point, your options end. When your medical premiums go up, your paycheck goes down. As the cost of living rises, you will simply have to cut back. Would you take that job? I have given 20 years of my working life to this district. I have over the 90 semester units at the end of the pay scale. Since January of this year, I have lost $200 a month in my paycheck. It costs me $300 a month just to travel back and forth to my job. Making ends meet is once again a struggle. No, teachers did not get into this profession for the money. That's the joke, right? But this is our career. We are professionals. We did get into this profession expecting to make a living wage throughout our careers. As professionals, this is a reasonable expectation. We want to purchase homes. Some of us are parents that want to send our children to college. Some of us have devoted 20 plus years to this district, to this profession, and would like to plan for retirement. The inflation rate this year is 4%. The district's begrudging offer was 0.25%. That isn't even $300 a year. That's for a 20-year veteran. For a beginning or mid-career teacher, it's a lot less than that. All this offer does for me is indicate the value this district places on teachers. There's a teacher shortage. What incentive does a quality teacher have to come here when clearly teacher salaries are not a priority? We have to fight just to remain solvent or become solvent. We show up for this district every day. The district is not doing our students any favors by disregarding the welfare of their teachers. We deserve better.
Next person, Laura Lasnier.
Good evening. My name's Laura Lanier, and I'm both the parent of 2 Brentwood students and a teacher with nearly 2 decades of service at Delta Vista Middle School in Oakley. I'm extremely disappointed in the current state of negotiations between the district and our incredible Brentwood teachers. As a professional educator, I find it unacceptable that it is May and the district is still negotiating contracts for this school year. And from the perspective of a tax-paying parent, I'm baffled that this district chose to pocket an over 8% cost of living adjustment with no clear intention of increasing teacher salaries. But I'm specifically here tonight to tell you firsthand what happens when a district does not prioritize its teachers. Years of low pay raises, poor working conditions, and employees feeling unappreciated has taken its toll in Oakley and made it incredibly difficult for us to hire and retain qualified educators. This year, we started with 10 teacher vacancies at my school alone, many of which are to this day still unfilled. Our students have had a revolving door of substitutes. Classroom behaviors are escalating. Our students are stressed and anxious. I have top-level students who regularly lie and ask their subs for a bathroom break so they can come to my class and just have a few minutes away from the chaos. But most importantly, without consistent and quality educators in many of their classrooms, my students have been robbed of an education and their academic growth has been stunted. One of my highest achieving students was distraught a few weeks ago because his standardized language arts test scores went down. To be honest, I wasn't surprised. He hasn't had a qualified teacher or even read a book in that class all year long. Fortunately, even Oakley settled for a 6% pay increase this year, and I'm hopeful that conditions will improve. But I'm scared that with the path this district is going down in these negotiations, Oakley's current reality is Brentwood's future. This district is holding on to the nostalgia that Brentwood is a destination district. But Brentwood is not immune to the issues plaguing education that are making it harder and harder to attract and retain employees. In December, I had to take my son to urgent care for head trauma after he was assaulted by another 5th grade student at Marsh Creek. My daughter had to deal with the terrifying events that transpired at Bristow. You can no longer assume that people will come to Brentwood just because it's Brentwood. The challenges these teachers face are currently no different than the challenges in Antioch, where teachers received a 22% pay increase over the past few years and now receive fully paid medical benefits for their entire family. The choice for prospective employees is going to be a no-brainer when you're trying to offer teachers a mere fraction of a percent. Our Brentwood children deserve qualified educators, and they're depending on you all to do what's right. It's time to settle these negotiations.
Next person, Ren Steinhauer. Ren Steinhauer.
Hello, my name is Ren Steinhauer. I'm a 7th grader at Adams School, and I've been with the orchestra program for almost 2 years now. I can confidently say that orchestra should be made available as an elective class at Adams. Ms. Andy Isaac has put so much effort and volunteered her time into creating this program out of nothing. Adams and Ms. Isaac should not be punished because the other middle schools have not started or yet tried to make an orchestra themselves. This program is an incredible way to introduce students to different forms of musical art. Sadly, many kids whom I know would love to take the opportunity to learn how to play these instruments but don't find the time after school. If orchestra was to be made in an elective course, more students would have the chance. Additionally, this club meets 2 times a week and many kids in this program started barely last year. That being said, this past weekend, Adams Orchestra participated in the CMEA Musical Festival for the first time and placed overall excellent with 2 superior ratings. The orchestra program is capable of much more given the chance. Thank you for your consideration.
Next person, Tao Lee. Tao Lee, T-A-O.
I'm not proud of what I said.
All right, should ask the name. Hello, board. My name is Connie Torres, and I am not Tao Lee, but Miss Kate Penso, this lovely woman came up to me who didn't speak any English, and she wrote something out in Google Translate, and she asked me to say it for her. So I am speaking on behalf of this mother. She said, I am the mother of Andy Lee, a 6th grade student at Adams Middle School. I hope the school district can increase the salaries of teachers so that they can teach children safely. Ms. Penso is a good teacher, and I hope she can stay in our school district. A lot of our parents want this qualified educators. Thank you.
Next person, Gwen Crane. Gwen Crane.
Hello, my name is Gwen Crane, and I have worked in Brentwood Union School District for the past 24 years. Straight out of college, right here. I have taught kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and I am the proud educator of the young, lovely young Sierra Conrad who bravely spoke on our behalf tonight. I'm asking the board to listen to the teachers in their district, in their community, who help raise, mold, and take care of all of our children. I don't think what we are asking for is too much. Just a fair salary increase to help keep up with the cost of living. I am asking the board to seriously reconsider how our budget is managed. I think it is a disgrace that it always comes down to an unbalanced choice between teachers or students. You can have your raise, but that money is already allocated to student programs. You can have your raise, but the budget is really bad. This is a pattern, and we need to change. Teachers should not be made to feel greedy for asking what is fair, for what we deserve and what we work for. This morning, a biker passed our teachers rallying outside our school, and his comment was, "Are you asking for more vacation time?" Seriously? Is that how our community views teachers? The misconception of what my job entails, how hard I work, the countless hours I put in, the family time I miss to take care of other families. I, along with all of the teachers, are not asking for much, just a fair salary offer, what we deserve, what we are worth. Please settle our contract now. Thank you.
Are there any more comment cards? Okay, I need a motion to close public comments.
As everybody's well aware, we cannot answer direct questions.
I'll make a motion to close public
Oh, I'm
comments.
sorry, my bad. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Start again. As you're aware, we can't answer direct questions as far as what has been brought to us and stuff. And I know a lot of you know me personally and stuff. I think the world of you. All of you, it's incredible the job you guys do. It's an embarrassment that you guys are last in the salary schedule for the whole area. I think I speak for probably all of us. We're well aware of that. It's embarrassing. Like I said, you guys definitely deserve way more. You're going to say, no matter what I say, talk's cheap and show me the money. And I'm well aware of that too. Unfortunately, I know some of you, our expenses have gone up, and by our, I mean the school district as a whole, not, and yours has too. And unfortunately, I think it's time, because of the way the state does funding, which is disgraceful. You talk about all these other school districts, Antioch, Pittsburgh, just the fact that we're below them is incredible. They also get millions and millions and millions more money based on the way the state formulates I think it's time for all of us as a group. This town needs a parcel tax that should. We're not. We don't have a parcel tax. Like, can I please just give me the courtesy to say what I have to say?
Your microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I take back my courtesy. It's time that we all band together and request a parcel tax, or at least, and at this time, I'd like to direct the superintendent to start contract out, or what do we have to do. I know we did this with Measure B to kind of get a gauge of what the citizens feel in regards to whatever we decide to be the parcel tax, and just to kind of gauge what the sentiment is with the citizens. As you're aware, it takes 2/3 of a vote, unfortunately, to pass any parcel tax. And although I love all our communities here, we have a difficult time passing anything because we have a large population of people that are elderly, don't have kids in school. Don't have kids, Morley. Don't have kids in school. So it's a difficult, task for us. I mean, we barely made Measure B funding and stuff. So, but it is time. It's ridiculous. And we can sit here and say, we don't have the money, and somebody's going to say, well, you got this, or why don't you do that? And the insurance is incredible too. I totally sympathize with that. And I hopefully I speak for all of us. I know pretty much, but it is time for that. And if we could, look into that, Dr. Eaton, I'd appreciate it as a board member. Just so you know, we're continuing negotiations. We're well aware that we're almost at the end of this contract at the end in another 6 weeks, let's say, basically July 1st, we start all over again. So please, we're not the enemy. We try to do the best and look out for everybody. A 0.25% raise is ridiculous. We're aware of that. However, unless something falls out of the sky or something, or we find some hidden fund somewhere. It's a disgrace. So please just bear with us. Like I said, I appreciate all the comments. I don't know how you guys do it. I'm not in that position. I'm retired. And I, thank goodness, was in law enforcement that has good pensions. So, and I'm not in your position, so I can't tell you what it's like. I know how much y'all make, and could I live on that as a retirement life? Absolutely, as long as I never left my house. So, but that's all I have to say. And again, we so appreciate you guys, and I understand that, you got to do what you got to do, and $13,000 is an awful lot of money. That's over $1,000 a month. So, would I be disappointed? Yes. Would I understand if people are going to start looking? Unfortunately, I sympathize with you. So, thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
So I just have a few comments here. I have a student in the district. He has a wonderful teacher who goes over and beyond, not just for my son, but for us as a family. And I know it's even hard to sit here today and look at the teacher who's in this room, because I am frustrated. I am disheartened by the current state that we're in. Not only as a board member, but just as a parent, as a human being, it makes my stomach just hurt and makes me want to have, I'm trying to hold back emotions to not tear up from the human aspect of what we're hearing in this room tonight. As I mentioned, incredibly frustrated and disheartened by the current state of our district budget situation. I mean, we've heard about the state funding calculations and how it has negatively impacted this district. I speak for myself, and I would say the district, that if we could do more, we would do more. And even if we were to get creative in this opportunity, this time, we're going to be back here again. And so I don't know what the answer is, but I feel like we definitely need a long-term solution, so that way in a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we're not back here having to have this conversation as if we want to offer 0% or 0.25%. That is ridiculous, if you ask me. I do not agree with, and I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I don't agree with what's on the table. Yet I am aware of the current state. I do want to make sure that we really figure out a solution so that our teachers moving forward are paid a living wage. Everything is going up. I go in the grocery store, everything is so expensive. Gas is expensive. I know that. And I'd like to see our teachers paid a living wage, especially with the increase of cost of living. And I believe Brentwood is a beautiful community. I think our district is an amazing district, and it would really suck if we lose our teachers to neighboring districts because of the way that districts are funded. And so I don't know if it's a parcel tax, if it's something. I just want to find a long-term solution so that we're not right back here next year and the years to come. Thank you.
I'll just quickly.
On the agenda, that would be great, because we all have to work tomorrow, and just out of respect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll be very quick. This is really difficult too. I've been on the board a long time. I've been involved in education in Brentwood for 55 years, and it's tough. I'm angry at the state. I'm angry at the legislation. I'm angry that you have to be angry here, complaining for something that should be naturally come to you. it's wrong. I know you can say, well, do something about it. I would love to do something about it. We'll go through that, and I hope many of you will stay here for the budget report because you should hear that exactly too. But thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for the comments that have been made.
I would just second what everybody else has already said. I think it goes without saying that we know our district has the reputation it does because of our staff, because of our teachers. It's not because of us sitting up here, obviously. We're all painfully aware of that. None of us feel good about the offer that you have received or that is the best we can do. We all wish that legislation, state funding, all of the formulas used to fund schools put us on an even scale with the other districts around us, but they don't. And it's just something that is out of our hands. We all have gone to, legislative days and have reached out to people. It's something that I don't think is going to be fixed by the state. I think Scott's right that a local solution is probably our only solution. It's a tough road to go, but it's something that we definitely want to look into. I also want to thank all of you for speaking and all of you for reaching out via email. I know that we don't respond to all of them, but do know that we read them. We do take that in. We do appreciate your point of view, and we appreciate you for all that you do. I was raised by an educator that taught for 30 years at Knightson. I know how hard of a life it is. I know how many hours you put in. I sat in front of Edna Hill School every day until 4 or 4:30 for my mom to pick me up because she worked extra hours that she didn't get paid for as well over at Knightson. And so it's not something that isn't noticed by us. It's not something that isn't appreciated by us. And honestly, if I could rubber stamp a 10% raise every single year, I would do it if we had the money. I know we need to do better. I know we all need to continue working at it, and we will. So thank you for all that you guys do. Please know that we do hear you, we do see you, and we do appreciate you.
Yes, I just want to say I do appreciate every teacher who has reached out in email, even if we haven't been quick to respond. I read each and every email. I am very frustrated with the situation with the state budget right now, but know that we do value you. I was raised by a single mother, so for those of you who wrote about being a single parent, I truly understand your position because it is from my personal experience, I saw how my mother as an immigrant struggled in this country. I wish we could do more. I really do. I used to be a school teacher myself. You know that used to be professor, and I taught pre-service teachers. I told them what the reality would be, that joke about not entering teaching for the salary. Nobody gets rich when they go into teaching. Those of you who have taught my son and daughter, you know how much I appreciate you. Thank you.
Madam President, for the agenda, one of the things that we could do is we could move immediately to 10-2, and then we could come back to 8 after that, and that would get BTA up there if that's
right,
something.
because school's tomorrow.
It is.
But I want to just go back to Scott's request about looking into, we got that on the record.
Yeah, if that's,
Okay.
I have it, if that's the direction of the board.
Dana, can we see how many orchestra people are here? Just maybe you can quickly, the orchestra.
For
how many orchestra people are here?
Oh, we could go after if you want. I'm sorry?
I'm not an orchestra person, but I teach music for the district and I fully support adding one.
Okay, thanks. So there's an agenda item later. I'm sorry, I'm not
I
sure
don't
what
think
you're
it's an
asking.
agenda item.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
there
a
you
Prop
go.
28 one. Yeah, it's a later one. So we'll come to that. Okay. Yeah, we can ask after if you want. Okay. So we want to go to 10.2?
10.2. All right, 10.2, Brentwood Teacher Association negotiations update. Do I have a motion? Oh, we don't have to. Okay.
You need a mic?
10 point.
You need a mic?
Yeah, can we get a microphone? That one over.
Microphone?
Do we have a handheld? I mean, you can have mine.
Can we take a microphone? Okay, sorry, let's get, you want a mic? We have a mic, pass it. We're gonna get a mic. We're gonna get a mic.
Okay, thank you.
They're gonna.
Here you go.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Ready? Okay.
Thank you for your patience.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, just put it on the chair. Sorry. All right. When I started teaching, I didn't need glasses. Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Bastillos, president of the Brentwood Teachers Association. We're here tonight to share where we're at in negotiations. We thank you for your time tonight on California's Day of the Teacher during Teacher Appreciation Week. Presenting with me today is Joe Thornhill, one of our co-middle school members at large, Melissa Rosnack, our secretary, Mikey Amaro, one of our bargaining co-chairs, Diane Blardoni, our other bargaining co-chair, and Alicia Erickson, our treasurer. We're here tonight because we're at impasse negotiations around salary. When our members were surveyed, they were clear that 0.25% salary was not fair. In negotiations, it's also clear that we're very far apart when it comes to salary. Our goals tonight are to work with you to improve budgeting practices in the district, to be offered a fair salary increase, and close out our contract this year. Okay, Joe?
Hello, everybody. So I'm a TSA for science, a teacher on special assignment. I work in this office. I just want to start off by saying that I know how hard all the people at this table work. I know that every day our administrators come in here to support teachers and to keep this district running. I also have some concerns. There's a narrative out there about teachers being greedy for asking for a raise this year after receiving a 9.76% agreement on salary in 22-23. I would like to dispel this greedy narrative by placing last year's agreement within a wider context. Please take a look at the third graph in your packet there. Sorry, I'm a teacher. So in the graph, we see a comparison between changes in the consumer price index and our agreed upon salary increases each year since 2016-2017. The consumer price index is a measure of the average change in prices paid by consumers for goods and services. What we see is that our salary agreements have roughly kept pace with the rate of inflation. In any given year, agreements just exceed or just fall short of this measure, including in 22-23. When we had our 9.76% agreement. Though Brentwood salaries have increased over the years, our employees are just staying afloat because our pay only goes as far as it did 7 years ago. Unfortunately, employees that insure their families with district benefits have fared worse than that. For employees that take district benefits, the precipitous increase in the cost of insurance means they are having to tighten their family budgets. I'd also like to set the record straight on another fact. The Brentwood Teachers Association never proposed a 9.76% salary increase. In fact, BUSD and BTA agreed to a 1% raise for just half of the 21-22 school year and a 3% for the 22-23 school year in an effort to end the practice of negotiating in the rearview mirror. So where did this additional 6.76% come from? Contingency language. BTA had expressed ongoing concerns about BUSD's budgeting practices. Year after year, conservative budgeting assumptions in enrollment and average daily attendance paint the picture of a tight budget with little room for increases in teacher salaries. Then, like clockwork, come September, Brentwood's unaudited actuals reveal surprise money conveniently rolling in after negotiations have wrapped up. The contingency language was crafted because both BUSD and BTA recognized that California was likely to divert significant sums of money to school districts. BUSD and BTA worked together to secure a salary agreement for the year ahead. This new contingency language said that if BUSD earned more revenue than expected, all Brentwood labor groups would receive a share of the revenue in the form of triggered salary increases. As expected, BUSD received a large share of revenue, which resulted in the 9.76% salary increase that you see in the 22-23 school year. So we believe that these facts serve to dispel this greedy teacher narrative and show that our frustration is not just about the offer of 0.25% for the year, but about Brentwood Union School District's overall budgeting practices that do not demonstrate that hard work is highly valued. By underestimating average daily attendance, our enrollment, expenditures, and overestimating staffing, BUSD has made it difficult for us to bargain for a fair and competitive compensation. Instead, we find ourselves feeling like an afterthought and barely keeping up with the rate of inflation. Thank you. I'm going to hand this off to Melissa.
Thank you, Joe. I'm Melissa Rosniak. I'm the BTA secretary, and I'm just going to continue where he left off. There may be a perception out there again that we're just asking for way too much. But as you've heard this evening from many speakers, let's talk about the financial reality our teachers are facing. We have many teachers and other district staff members that are enrolled in our district benefits plan, family or two-party plans. And in January 2024, these employees all took a pay cut. With the increase in benefit premiums in 2024, the district did bargain to increase all benefit allotments by $106.21 a month to match the employee-only cost of benefits. But employees with the two-party plan are now paying $652.15 every month out of their pocket just to have the basic human right of health care. The increased district allotment only covers 50% of the increase in premiums. These employees are paying an extra $106.22 out of their pocket per month from 2023. Employees who take full family benefits, well, guess what? You get an even bigger financial burden. Your increased allotment only covered 36% of your increased premiums that you get to pay every month. And you are now paying the equivalent of a mortgage in Brentwood of $1,186.38 out of your pocket every month. This is an increase of $189.07 per month. While yes, single users like me have been made whole, employees on two-party and full family plans did not get an increase that equaled the new amount above and beyond what they were already paying out of their pocket. So once again, all of these employees took a pay cut, and now we're talking about not giving them any additional funding in general. The other financial reality is that some teachers, myself included, we can just no longer make ends meet with one job. And we're having to take on second jobs or side hustles. No one with a postgraduate college degree should have to work two jobs just to pay your rent or your mortgage. Teaching is already a job that requires more than 100% of our time and energy. I do not know a single teacher who can work only our contract hours and do this job sufficiently. We work after school for hours. We take work home. We work nights. We work weekends. And yes, we do work during all those breaks and summer vacations you so generously give us. You know, we don't work when kids aren't there, right? All of that extra work is done because we take pride in our jobs and we know that we will not be getting paid overtime for those hours. However, many of us are now having to find a second job where we can get paid some money. We are coaching. We're working after school or before school in intervention or ELAP programs. We're working intercession in summer school. We are tutoring. Some of us are even going out and finding jobs that are outside of the teaching field altogether. The last point I want to make tonight, some of you talked about what that salary increase would mean to you in your pocket at 0.25. And I just want to talk about teachers like myself who are almost topped out, and all of our lovely, wonderful teachers, some of whom are in this room, who are retiring this year. Thank you very much for your 25 years or more of dedicated service. You get to leave with the exact same salary you were making last year. There is no extra step or column if you were topped out on the salary scale. So let's dispel the rumor that everybody gets a raise every year because you get to move up on the salary schedule. Not us, not at the top. You get a 0, I get a 0. So I don't know about you, that doesn't seem like a really great retirement gift. Just saying. I'm going to turn the floor over to Mikey now.
Hi there, I'm Mikey Amaro, one of our bargaining team chairs. The district has overspent on their budget this year by nearly $6.6 million, with none of this going to salary. I'd like all of my board members and BUSD administration, can you go to page 4, please, and everybody else that's in our attendance right now. We have collected data there using our public shared information at prior board meetings from adopted budget, first interim, second interim. And when I bring up that figure, I'm talking about what is projected to be at the end of our school year compared to our adopted budget. For context, as we're all fighting here, feeling like we're being greedy for crumbs, I think it's important to understand that what is 1%? For all labor groups, because all labor groups in Brentwood have a Me Too clause. And basically BTA is kind of the leader in charge of going through the motions, and all labor groups get the matching percentage of salary. So for context, $800,000 is equivalent to 1% for all labor groups. BUSD's last, best, and final offer of 0.25% is equal to $200,000 for all labor groups. For more context, if you love numbers like myself, an average teacher salary that we usually talk about and reference is $80,000. And if that person received a 0.25% raise, that equates to $200 annually. And it gets even better. That's $16 monthly. But wait, before federal and state taxes. BTA believes that BUSD needs to adjust their budgeting behavior because of systemic issues.
Hello, I'm Diane Blardoni. I am his other half of the BTA bargaining team. So speaking of, and a lot of you who spoke so eloquently today, we as the bargaining team appreciate that. We love having other voices in the room. One thing that a lot of you touched on was talking about the impact on your day-to-day lives and your household. When we talk about increases or lack thereof on our salary, I want to equate this to something that we can all relate to, which is our household budget, right? Every month we look at what we get in a month. We pay our mortgage, we pay our cars, our car insurance, our groceries, right? We all do that. As we get towards the end of the month, when the balance is getting smaller and smaller, we have to stop and look and say, okay, what can I do to get to the end of the month before I get paid again, right? We have to adjust, right? You're not going to get those new pair of shoes. You're not going to get the Fruity Pebbles. You're going to get the generic brand, right, until we get paid again. We press that the district would do the same thing in their budgeting. Every month, look at where is this money going and what can we do, what can the district do to stop money literally going down the drain? Where can we be creative? Creativity is needed in order to pivot when a state budget changes, as we know it does, and it did not change for the better, obviously, this year. I would like for you to continue to look at this BUSD budget info page, and then if you take a look at what is boldface there, services and other operating expenses. When you take a look at the change from the original adopted budget, you can see the increase in expenditures of almost $8 million. I'm going to say that one more time, almost $8 million. And remember, a 1% increase for our salary is $800,000 for all labor groups, not just BTA, okay? $8 million. we urge everyone here to really educate yourselves on the educational budget and think creatively, almost as like a household. What can we do to lessen the impact of these expenditures? Because this is where the problem lies. Expenditures, $8 million this year. Why? As a household, we would never allow that. We would never allow that. We don't, right? Like, just to me, that's common sense. BTA questions why BUSD has not treated salary increases in similar fashion to how economic uncertainties are budgeted yearly. In other words, the district, and again, people have brought this up in their speaking today, the district has never budgeted or planned for teacher salary increases, let alone all employee groups. We urge the district to have as a line item every year in their budget some sort of a baseline salary increase rather than it be not included. Money gets spent. Oh, we don't have any money left. Sorry, it's gone. If we are a line item budget year in and year out, we solve a large part of our problem. We have to work within our budget.
To piggyback on what Diane just said there, obviously there's a bargaining process that runs its course. And when she mentions that we want to become a line item, it's really more about the idea of tabling money, right? And putting that in the future to still have the process of bargaining. But we've never allocated money that is separately for the process, at least a floor amount to be able to have that discussion. So that's a big piece that we believe in that. Our understanding this year, though, was that we were entering into a different bargaining relationship based on trust and being proactive. And while it may seem like we're just here to beat up on BUSD, I want to make sure that it is known, because as a bargaining team member along with Diane, that there have been great strides between BUSD bargaining team and the BTA bargaining team in terms of building a more positive working relationship. Diane and I can personally attest to this point, given we have been on prior regimes, so we can compare and contrast. We extended our trust by allowing time to onboard a new CBO, and we're patient with the district's desire to wait for multiple budget revisions, inclusive of first interim and of the governor's January budget. Our district is unique with no partial tax in play, and we have a low UPP, and I want to make sure that you already brought that there, Board Member Dudek, that a partial tax is going to have to be involved, and it's going to have to be all of us together to work on that. It's going to take a lot of work. You know, when we had Measure B, which has very, very restrictive strings attached about how money, we had to be a big part of the campaign, and it's going to have to happen again. When we talk about low UPP, because that gets talked about when, we want to go compare from District A to District B, UPP, just to make sure everybody understands, that's unduplicated peer pupil, which is inclusive of second language learners, homeless or foster students, and low socioeconomic families. And that can add a lot of funding, but we're, as a district, also experiencing a climb back to pre-COVID ADA numbers, which is average daily attendance, and we continue to have significant enrollment growth, which accounts for more revenue. In fact, BUSD is knocking on the door of 10,000 students now, if you're not aware, which now designates a district as a large LEA, a local educational agency. And when you're a large district, it comes with more funding also. This is a tough time for all stakeholders, and that goes for parents, teachers, and teachers aren't the only BUSD employees, all BUSD employees, because we are driving the ship right now and everybody else is held up because of our process.
Amen.
The state budget is tight and it's being labeled with politicians who have to play their own game as a correction instead of a recession. But really, the issues with funding are deep-rooted at a state level. That's been mentioned by many different people here, and I'm glad that was. But there are levers that can be pulled at the local level to offer educators a competitive salary offer. And all we ask is to start doing that work.
We are professional educators. just want to say it one more time, but a very well-respected colleague reminds us often, we are professionals. We know what students need. They need quality educators in the classroom, on their school sites, and in their communities. We can help to do this, to ensure this is happening by being competitive with our salary, our benefits, and thus attracting and retaining quality educators. In order to do so, we must give teachers the best possible increase that both sides can feel good about, can feel proud of, and will combat inflation, as well as honor the work of educators and the needs of our very diverse needs of our students.
We want you to put students first. We do too. We just don't want teachers to be put last. Our strength in Brentwood and BUSD is our community. We live in the place where we work. Most of our staff, whether aides, teacher, admin, live here. We're friends, we're neighbors. Teachers are not going to be able to continue to do that. How many of us, if we moved to Brentwood right now, could not purchase a home here? I know I couldn't. Teachers can give more of themselves and their time if they're not commuting long hours to and from work each day. The cost of living here is outpacing our salary. We lose some of this wonderful community if our teachers can't afford to live here. We want to work with the school board to figure this out and end our year with a contract that values the people that are front and center with students every day. Thank you.
Permission, right?
Yeah.
Do we go to 8? And we have to do, we go back to 8, right? We haven't even done his.
Oh.
We haven't, yeah.
Do we do?
Okay, board, so if there's anything to say, you're welcome to say that. When you're ready to move on, we'd be back at 8.
8 consent items, 8.0 to 8.8.
Can I just say something real quick, if you wouldn't mind? I just want to say thank you. I've been quiet. I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. I appreciate the thought that you put into your comments, and I just appreciate the passion that you bring. And so, thank you very much as we go forward.
What do we want? A contract! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? A contract! When do we want it? Now!
So we'd be on 8.0.
Okay.
Does anybody want it?
Is anyone in? Okay.
I can set that.
Okay.
Waiting.
Can we move up? Can we actually move up item number 10.6
Yeah.
to the next item?
Yes, that would be fine.
Okay. And do we need do I need to make a motion for that?
We can do that.
Okay. Let's just do
Tweet can recommend that.
10.6, please.
All right, 10.6, approval of Prop 28 funding plan.
Michael, 10 point. We're going to do Prop 28.
Perhaps we can skip the superintendent.
We are.
We are?
He's
Okay.
gonna email it out.
Okay.
Got it.
All right, good evening, Board of Education. I'm here to talk about Prop 28 and our plan for the arts and music in schools funding from the state of California. So there's a lot of words on here. I went ahead and highlighted a few things, but this is the AMS Funding Guarantee and Accountability Act, so arts and music in schools. That second paragraph highlights all of the areas in which the funding may be spent. And I have another little graphic in a minute that's gonna define that even a little bit better. A couple of things that need to be considered in Prop 28 is that at least 80% of the funds must be expended on either certificated or classified employees to provide those arts education programs, and up to 20% may be used for training supplies and materials. So we can go above that 80%, but we can't go below it. And the other important thing is that funds, oops, sorry about that. The funds must be used to supplement. They cannot supplant a current program. So we can't say we're going to use these funds to fund our BAM programs. They're already happening. This must be something new. So it's a little bit of the background and rules around the funding. This is another way to look at the areas of Prop 28 that can be funded. The state put these in 5 big categories, so dance, theater, music, visual arts, and media arts. And this graphic will be important as I share our plan, proposed plan for elementary especially. So BUSD currently has an allocation for the next school year of 1.2 million and some change. What we believe is this will roughly fund 1 teacher per 2 sites at the elementary level and 4 sections of instruction at the middle school level. The reason I say roughly 1 teacher per site is we have different size schools, and so we will allocate based on enrollment needs. This leaves a little less than 200,000 for training supplies and materials as per that 20% number. So who was involved in developing the plan? This is the team that got together on one after school day and a half day release. You can see these are our expert music, art, drama, all the people that we want to have feedback on our Prop 28 plan. In addition, site principals reviewed the plan, provided feedback, and gave us the go-ahead on what we're proposing. So what are the recommendations? This is the committee recommendations for elementary. So first of all, the committee recommended a focus on TK through 3. Because 4th and 5th grade have some other opportunities that TK through 3 do not. And they recommend that we post positions that incorporate the 5 areas below, but with a really heavy emphasis on the 3 middle areas. So theater, music, and visual arts. It'd be basically a visual and performing arts position, that would work with students in TK through 3. They also recommended that we consider credentialing requirements. Finding teachers in some of these categories is not easy. And so how can we package this and credential it so that we have the best opportunity to find qualified candidates? And then obviously there'll be some material needs. This we don't have curriculum for this. We don't have some of the things we would need. So that would be another part of the implementation using that 20% funding. And then the additional idea, if funds exist and we can do it without the supplanting rule coming into effect, would be to consider expanding the number of 5th grade band sessions. So what I really want to focus on is that TK through 3 positions of about a 0.5 person per site, with that focus on theater, music, and visual arts. It would likely be a drama credential, And why the committee recommended that is they felt like that would be a position that would be able to hit as many of these areas as possible. So if we have good quality program with good quality teachers, which would be our goal, we can build a drama program that incorporates music, some dance, does scenery, and kind of includes many of those areas that are on this this chart. That's the recommendation for elementary. For middle, the recommendation is to start small and go slow, and start with orchestra at all 3 middle schools, most likely after school. The reason we say that is master schedules have largely been built. It would be difficult to insert things in there, but the after school thing is not a have to. It's just we're working with the 3 sites. Some feel it'd be easier to add that in this first year as an after school consideration. The committee also recommended that we consider the time and materials needed. So we will need instruments and music materials and so on. And then to look to expand to other areas in the 25-26 school year, which would be for those sites that we haven't brought it into the school day, bringing that in, consider dance, and possibly some other art courses to add to our program of art courses. Some of the next, so board, just to be clear, it would be really this slide for elementary and this slide for middle that you're approving today for us to go forward. And then our next steps, if we get the go-ahead, would be to start those postings. I'm ready to do personnel transaction forms tomorrow if we're ready, and to get the posting out for orchestra and the TK through 3, their drama or visual performing arts, whatever we end up entitling that. Start working on the TK through 3 program curriculum development and the orchestra program development. And then, of course, we'd continue to monitor and bring this back to the committee next year to look at how it's going, monitor, adjust, review, add some additional components to middle school because we're starting a little slower with middle. That's what I got. Questions?
I have one question. I think you mentioned something about offering this after school. Are we thinking that as a phased approach until we're able to actually have it during the school time?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Just given where we're at in the school year, it'd be hard to add it into the master schedule right now.
I think one of the other things that we have to consider, right, is in especially 2 out of 3 of our middle schools have very well attended music programs. And so we'd have to see how it would work with those as well in terms of having space and enough spaces. So starting slow would be a good way to figure that out.
So what are we targeting in terms of phased approach? And I'll just give context for my question. I'm thinking of the equity factor of how many students can actually stay after school to take advantage of these types of programs. I just want to make sure that we're factoring that in.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we can do it during the school day, we'll do it. But
I guess what the question that I'm asking that I don't hear the answer to is, are we thinking 2 years from now we will start to incorporate it during the school day?
It's right here, Stephanie, on this part of this slide. So expand to other areas in 25-26. So orchestra within the day.
For middle school?
Yeah.
What about elementary?
Elementary, we're hoping to be full drama across all sites.
Thank you.
I just would like to say I'm glad that we have Prop 28. We wouldn't have been able to add anything, obviously, reflecting back on tonight without this categorical money. I'd like to thank the speaker who spoke up for orchestra. I think that's important to hear. And obviously with performing arts, I'm very excited, and with visuals as well. And so I would like to make a motion that we approve Proposition 28 funding plan.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carries.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
So back to 8.0.
All right.
And if I could pull the personnel report when we get there, that would be great.
Yeah, please.
So consent items 8.0 to 8.8, but pulling.
Yeah, can I just pause for just a second before we introduce? So we have at least a couple people with us that we want to take a second to introduce. And so first I'm going to ask Pioneer Principal Casey McClure to introduce somebody that's with him.
So thank you for the time. As an elementary principal and former PE teacher, I know how to project, but I'll use this. So Tunisia Hawk Adams, she will be our new vice principal at Pioneer, and I couldn't be more excited to bring her on board. I'm very, very proud to work with BUSD and in BUSD, and one of the reasons for that is the intentional and really thoughtful process of recruiting, interviewing, collaborating, and deciding on bringing in talented professionals like you. So that excitement is real, and I'm chomping at the bit to get you here. With that said, we know that you're committed to your current position as vice principal in San Francisco Unified. So once you finish out your year, please come on down.
Thank you so much for being here, Tanisha. So in just a second, we're going to hopefully approve the consent agenda, and then you'll be official, okay, as we go forward. Danielle, do you want to really quickly introduce your person? I know she couldn't make it.
Good evening. As Casey said, I appreciate BUSD's approach to opening the vice principal position, and we had some really great candidates. And I'm so excited to introduce Lauren Brown, who couldn't be here today because she has an event. She is currently a vice principal in Oakland Unified, and she has had the opportunity to meet many teachers at Marsh Creek, and I can't wait to introduce her to the board and to the rest of the BUSD community.
Thanks. And then I have one last person to introduce. And so one of the things that we've been looking for is a new principal for our Harvest Grow Virtual Academy. And we feel like we had some amazing candidates, but we have somebody who is currently the vice principal at Marsh Creek School and previously was a vice principal at Cray Elementary and an intervention teacher. She's a national board certified teacher and really respected by everybody. And so I want to introduce for your consideration, Angela Mullen. And Angela, you have some people with you. Do you want to introduce them real quick?
Sammy brought me flowers, so he says I start tomorrow. I'm really thankful to be able to bring my family today. So I have my husband here with me, Ben, my daughter Quinn, my daughter Kaylin, and her lovely boyfriend Brandon. So we're really excited to be here. Thank you.
This is a good boyfriend tryout, Brandon, for today. So thanks for being here. Sorry, Sammy, that does start next year, so next school year. So thank you for letting me interrupt for those. And then we will, and assuming that the next vote goes well, it will be official.
Just for your family, you guys are losing your wife and your mom once a month on Wednesdays for long hours, and so welcome to the principal club. So,
but on a positive note, you probably won't ever have to come again. So there's that. I move that we approve consent items 8.0 through 8.8.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
Please feel free to sneak out. You're more than welcome to stay, but please feel free to sneak out. Except Brandon. Brandon, you need to stay. We want you to stay. Okay.
I suggest you run.
All right, I need a motion to open 9.0 fee justification study and an increase in school facilities fees.
I move that we open 9.0 hearings and appeals.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Second.
All right.
And then if there's no, are there any comments about the fee justification study? Then we can close that.
Okay. Need a motion to close?
Make a motion, we close 9.0.
Did it too.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Seconded, yes.
All right. And then we have a report out of closed session 10.0.
If it's the expulsion of the student, I move, it's not.
In closed session, the board, by a vote of 5-0, approved the settlement agreement with Brentwood Union School District, Rainforth Grow Architects, Warren Consultant Engineers Incorporated, Condor Earth Technologies Incorporated, American Modular Systems Incorporated, Lathrop Construction Associates Incorporated, and Griffin Soils Incorporated for the payment to the district of $312,467.98 to be utilized for repairs at Mary Casey Black Elementary School. All right. And then next, 10.1, expulsion of student.
I move that we approve the stipulated expulsion of student number 04-2024-18.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. We're moving to 10.3, 23-24, estimated actuals, part 1.
Good evening. Tonight I'm presenting estimated actuals part 1 for this year's 23-24 budget. And what the estimated actuals are is we close the books after June 30th. That's the end of this fiscal year. The new fiscal year starts July 1st. And this will actually come with the adopted budget presentation in June because it's the estimated actuals and the adopted budget. But I wanted to share tonight where we are in the process with our budget, looking at our revenues, expenditures, and bring you up to date. So we always talk about how schools are funded, and I think it's a good reminder, as we've heard tonight, that LCFF stands for Local Control Funding Formula. It is how the state funds our schools. And so if you see the circle that says $10,146 as an example, that's the adjusted base grant. And every district in the state for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders gets $10,146. That's where it's all the same. But what happens and what we've talked about is that if you have an unduplicated pupil percentage, which I think everybody heard the definition, but it's low income, foster youth, English learners, a percentage of which we have in this district 27%, you get a supplemental amount of $2,029 for those students. And then on top of that, if you are a district of a 65% UPP, you get another additional $4,566. So this is just the formula that we use that's from the state. It's been since 2013, and that's what this looks like. So enrollment and average daily attendance, I know we hear a lot about that, and I think it's important to remember that enrollment, we are funded not by the number of students enrolled in our district. We are funded by our average daily attendance, the number of students averaging over the course of the school year who sit there. However, as we all know, we have to allocate enough dollars in our budget for the enrollment numbers, and we receive funded on our ADA. And I wanted to share, so when you look at 23-24, it says our enrollment is 9,751, and that is the census day for school districts in the state from the CDE. So the first Wednesday of October every single year, through that CalPADS that also looks at UPP and the student systems that every district uses, they say what's your enrollment today? So as of
October, we were 9,751. That's our number for the whole year in terms of ADA to enrollment ratio. Now, as of April 27th, we had 9,903 students enrolled, and that's without preschool. But that doesn't change this number for how the state calculates our funding and every district for the year. And the ADA, it looks like we have gone up a little. It's not certified yet, but we're looking at 95.03%. And I will talk a little more about that in a minute. But what I wanted to share with you is this sort of is our BUSD's historical average daily attendance since pre-COVID, because as we know, so starting in 17, 18 and prior to those years, our ADA was above 97%, like it was 97.24% for 2017, 18, that's ADA. And then 18, 19, it went down a little bit, and then COVID happened in March of 2020, so they held us harmless for that year. And then 2020, 21, we got almost 100% ADA, and every district in the state did, and it had to do with COVID, with the way they said, we're just going to fund you. That was our first full year of COVID, and they did that. But if you look at 21, 22, it went significantly down to about 93.4%. And then the next year it went up a little in 94. And now, right now, this school year, we're at 95.03. So we are slowly recovering from our pre-COVID time, but we've got a ways to go. We, need to hopefully get attendance back up significantly more. And as a reminder, so every 1% of increase of average daily attendance provides us with about $1 million in more revenue. So I wanted to kind of talk through and share this slide. And so second interim came to the board in January, and it was based on certain assumptions for, enrollment assumption stays the same all year long, 9,751. But our ADA percentage changes throughout the year as we get farther along, and we were certified for P1 at that time. And now we're looking at P2. It's like the certain dates where they look at you and they say, this is what we think your ADA apportionment is. So if you look at the 23-24 school year, in second interim, we were at 94.34%, and now we believe, it's not certified, but we're going to be at 95.03%. We have run all the numbers, done all the work, submitted it to the county. The county pre-certified that we were that we were right, and now it goes to the state and takes them another 6 weeks to tell us that we will be funded at that level, but that's what we think. So our ADA did go up about 0.69% from second interim to what we think will be the estimated actuals. The other thing I just want to share with you, I showed the out years. I don't need to read through them all, but I want to share with you, as you look at estimated actuals, which are the middle band, I want to talk about enrollment and how we got to, these will change again before the adopted budget comes, perhaps. We've got what's today, May 8th, we've got 3 more weeks to kind of pull that together and analyze. But for 24-25, we're thinking our enrollment would be 9,953. And that's based on that last week we were at 99.03, and historical average, we add about 50 more during the summer. And then we know we're growing. We don't know how much, but we increased it 50 each year. And then ADA percentage, when you look at estimated actuals, it only goes up to 95.58, and then the fourth year out, 95.73. And I just want to explain that analysis. So this year our ADA has gone up, and we look at it month by month. So the first 3 months we had a really strong ADA as compared to the year before, but some of our months have been less than. So even though we're overall increasing, we don't recommend increasing the ADA in a projection until we have more data. Because if you increase your ADA and you don't get that, you're going to have to take something back, because that's where your revenue projections come from. That's how you project how much revenue we would be getting in the next year. Is that? Okay.
I'm a little confused, but.
So let me give you an example. So yeah, so say, look at the 24-25, the middle estimated actuals, the ADA percentages, it's 95.58%. So if we had 96% and we only come in at 95.5%, we have projected in our budget that we would get more revenue than we thought. Because it goes into, there's this.
I get that. I'm just wondering, where are these projections coming from? So I see like enrollment under second interim for, like we have like 99,851, and then that carries over for the subsequent years.
So
I'm wondering, like, where are those projections?
So those came from before January, when our district-wide enrollment was less. So that's why I wanted to share with you, our district enrollment is up. So we're projecting the numbers to be higher each of the out years.
Okay.
Those projections come from proposed housing, new housing.
So we're looking at actuals. And then we're saying, based on, we know there's more new development. We know that we're going to go up. So
I guess where I'm a little confused.
It's okay.
It's not matching up with, so I see the second interim enrollment and ADA assumptions. I see those numbers that we're projecting.
But then I look down under adopted budget assumptions, and they're not the same enrollment numbers. And so I'm wondering, what are we working off of that's driving the different numbers?
Right. So for example, you're looking at so if you look at second interim 24-25, it says 9,851.
Okay.
And if you go to the estimated actuals adopted budget, it goes to 9,953.
Right.
So yes, so what I'm saying is so second interim came in January to the board. And in January, our enrollment in the district, current 23-24 enrollment, was lower than it was a week ago, like significantly, like say it grew 100 students over the course of 4 months. Those are just projections that we write into a multi-year plan, and that maybe I'm not answering it.
I could find out.
Maybe I can try to say it a different way. So when you're looking at the 24-25 in second interim, at that point, we were projecting 9,851 in 2024-25. Now, as we're coming in at this time, based on the growth that we've seen for next year, right now, she's projecting 9,953. So an increase of almost 102 based on growth that we're seeing now. So the increase of students that we're seeing now makes us believe that as we continue to grow, we'll have more students next year as we go forward. So she's adjusting that and reconciling what she showed you in January.
Diane, I've just got you'll probably answer it, but so we had over 200 plus enrollment this year, correct? Additional?
Yes.
So, but if we go that low, we're stuck with that number all year, although I know your projections are now accurate with the 200, but let's say hypothetically 24-25, we get 150. But we're only increasing at 50 and we're stuck with that number the whole?
No, we're not stuck with any number. What you're stuck with is, so this year, the first Wednesday in October in 2024 is Census Day for the CDE. So whatever enrollment is on that day, you're stuck with that number for funding.
For the whole year?
Yes.
Although our popular students.
So we've increased, so since October of 2023, we've increased over 300 students.
Correct.
So we can't, this is the complex part. So our ADA can go up and our ADA will bring more revenue.
Correct.
But our enrollment, the calculation of ADA to enrollment, the enrollment number has to stay steady the whole year until next year.
Irregardless of what it really is.
Right.
Increases to.
Yes,
Okay.
that's how that's how it works. But we track it. As a matter of fact, I'm sure you've seen the presentations from Kirsten, Job, and Maria Ambras. I mean, they track it daily, they report it weekly, and so we're always looking at the data. But yes.
So the 200 extra students this year, go back to the ADA, those 200 kids count for our ADA, but we don't get funding for them? So if 200 kids are a lot, and that makes a huge difference if a lot of them are not shown or
Right, so
or whatever.
so the ADA, say if ADA is 10%
Right.
of 100, right? So, we get $10. Well, if our ADA went up to 20%, we would get $20. But if our enrollment goes up, we don't get any more or less except whatever the ratio is.
Wow, okay.
And yeah, I mean, it's the state funding model.
Gotcha.
So it's always good that ADA is going up, and that's why we're saying if it goes up 1% based on that 9,571 enrollment snapshot day, it's about $1 million for ADA.
So we don't get any additional funding, although we're responsible for these 200 kids.
Right.
that
Oh,
we
so
didn't
yeah,
budget
but no, just because our enrollment went up and we have to hire more teachers and
Right, that's my
buy more supplies. No, there's no,
additional.
yeah.
Okay, well, that could be half the problem.
Now, and since we're on the, Mr. Thornhill mentioned the thing of 10,000 in large school, will we enter into a different funding thing at 10,000 students?
Is that accurate what they said?
Well, I hadn't heard that. That was new to me. So I actually don't know that. I mean, I didn't know. I always thought that like over 10,000 was a mid-sized district because there are, but I think what Emil's asking is that if small districts have to give one kind of percentage, like LA Unified doesn't have a 3% reserve. They have, I think it's a 2%, don't quote me. They have because they're so huge. So I think, is that what you're at? Like,
No, I'm actually wondering if the funding model is set
No.
any different because it's a lot classified as a different size.
no, it's that same slide. the
So irregardless
LCFF.
whether we go over 10,000, there aren't additional funds.
No. Okay. It's additional money because we have
Well,
more
because of the
students.
population, but not because we're in a different class.
Yeah, yeah.
No, okay, thank you.
So one thing I wanted to share this slide just to talk a little bit about the fact that this is our unrestricted budget. Remember, these are funds that, although required by statutory law, you have to operate a school district, but it's not like, say, that Prop 28 money, which is a restricted money that's very like, you have to do 1, 2 through 10. So on our unrestricted budget for this year, our LCFF, the slide of our funding, we did get an increase of $10,981,000 this year compared to last year in LCFF revenue. We did go down under all other local revenue by $448,000, and local revenue, that was actually insurance. We got some insurance reimbursement for water damage, so that local revenue just goes up and down depending on what's happening during the year. If you look at the unrestricted expenditures, I just wanted to show that certificated salaries from last year to this year went up 2 million, classified salaries of 659,000, employee benefits 1.5. I don't want to read through it all, but the total increases on the unrestricted side were $5.4 million. And then there was a decrease of some 235,000. So we have like a 5.2 million increase in expenditures. Then you look at the contribution to restricted expenditures. And that was another $5.8 million. And so if you take the total revenue of 10.5 million and you subtract out the expenditures, we're actually a negative 518,000. But what I want to talk about what the contribution is, just to remind us. So the contribution is money that comes from the general fund to fund special education. It also does fund routine RMMA, routine restricted maintenance account, but the majority of that money is for special education. And we were in a meeting this morning, Chris and I, with CSEA, and they asked a great question about how does funding work for special education? And I just want to remind us that, so IDEA, which is a federal law that requires us to do FAPE and have this program, when it was put into law, the law says that they're going to fund 40% of all special education costs. So that's like 40 cents of the dollar. Well, over the course of all these years, they've funded between 11 and 14 cents on the dollar, and it's around 11 cents right now. So there's a huge funding gap. And then it's the same thing. We do get state money for special education, but it's not enough to make up the difference. So the contribution is what our general fund needs to run the programs for our students. And then I know we've talked a lot, but I thought I would share this slide. So this is from 21-22. It's on Ed Data, which is actually a really interesting website. From the CDE, FICMAT, and EdSource. But it talks about, I wanted to show just the LCFF funding per student, looking at, Brentwood, Knightson, Oakley, Byron, Antioch, and Pittsburgh, and then also the total funding per student. Because, for example, we've got in 21-22, $9,948. And then if you take all the LCF funding, which included our supplemental funding, we would get $13,273. And I'm also shared their unduplicated pupil percentage.
Can I just jump in real quick on that? One of the things that I want to say, and I think why your comment about parcel tax is so important for us to consider. I did some quick calculations. So if the lowest one that's closest to us is Knightson, right? So they get $1,085 more a student. If based on our enrollment, we got what Knightson had, we would have $10.3 million more a year. If based on our enrollment, we get what Oakley got, we would get $15 million more a year. If based on our enrollment, we got what Byron got, we would get $25 million more a year. If based on our enrollment, we got what Antioch gets, we'd get $41.4 million more a year. And if based on our enrollment, we get what Pittsburgh gets, we would have $47.5 million per year. And so what's happened over time, and when you look at salary schedules, that's why they're starting to line up that way, is because of the massive amounts of money that are going into other districts. And that money is not coming to us. In fact, we would have been tons better off under the old funding formula than we are now.
Thank you, Dana. This is the same information as a chart. I just know some people like visuals and some like data. So it's showing the same thing. It's the blue line is the LCFF funding per student in the district. The orange is the total funding for LCFF, and then the UPP percentage is the gray line. Another thing we've talked about in the past and just wanted to remind ourselves in terms of expenditures. So again, on that unrestricted budget side, Brentwood does spend 89% of our revenues on salaries and benefits for all employees. And you can see Antioch has 86% all the way down to like Oakley has 84 and Knightson of 81% of their unrestricted salaries and benefits versus their revenue and expenditures. This is, we have two slides of salary comparisons, and this was done for another local district. Did you say it was Oakley, Dana? Okay, it was Oakley. And because we were part of it, we get the same data. So this is a salary comparison for your BA plus 30. And the thing we just wanted to share is that if you look at column 4, which is the salary, Brentwood is 3rd out of 6 districts. And we are the lowest funded, which we've already kind of evaluated at $9,948 per student funding for LCFF.
Yeah.
Now,
sorry.
No, go ahead, Dave.
No, one of the things that I do want to point out, though, in fairness, right, is that's when you're looking at salary, when you look at the combination of the max total compensation, right, when you're adding in the benefits, that we're not at 3rd anymore.
No, we're at 6th. If you took our salary and benefits together, we just did this to show you this data, to share the data. And I have the one for the maximum salary. So again, at Brentwood, in our district, the maximum salary is at $115,701, and we are the lowest funded district. But if you included the health and welfare, we wouldn't be the 3rd highest. We would be lower. We'd be number 6 out of 6. And this was done in February of this year.
But Byron settled after that, correct? So that's not accurate?
Yeah, that's why it was February this year. And again, this was a compensation study. So yes, thank you. Then I wanted to bring up share the increased expenditures for this year and where a lot of the money went. And step and column, we always talk about, and what that is, for all certificated, they may move up a step and a column every year, although we know if you're at the highest, if you're at 90 and so many years, you're not going to get an increase. And the same thing with classified salaries, they come in at a certain step and then there's up to step 6. So the cost for the step and column increase this year was $1.37 million. Health and welfare, we've looked at these numbers before, 1.1 million. CalSTRS is the Teachers Employee Benefit Program. We are required to partake in that. And the thing is, so the amount of, we pay 19.10%. So that stays the same each year for now, but because it's of the employee's salary. So we're still having an increase this year of $233,000. CalPERS is the classified employee pension program, and that was an $806,000 increase. Again, I won't go through it all. Transportation, $477,000. We've shared that information, I think, at first and second interim. I did want to talk about the special education contribution, which is $5.1 million. And I put it in the box below. And the one thing is, we had some COVID funding, both for special education, one-time funds, and other COVID funding that could be used for special education. So in 21-22 and 22-23, some of the increase in expenditures were offset with this one-time money. And so they didn't show as a contribution.
Can I also, one of the things that I do want to point out, because I know there's a lot of conversation about budgeting tonight, is everything on this list is not something that we chose to spend money on. You could make that argument for special education, but often special education, in almost every case, special education expenses are driven by IEPs that require services. And so the challenge that we're seeing in the district is that our increased costs are often outstripping the money that we are having come in, right? And those are mandated costs that are coming.
Do you have a percentage, Diane, from 22, 23 to 23, 24 of just the increase in that?
Did I add it up?
Increase.
I'd have to run it. So the reason I didn't add it up is because this is combined. This is unrestricted and restricted. So it's also, that's the thing about budgets, because I showed you unrestricted and this is combined, but I'd be happy to get that information to tell you the percentage increase.
Yeah, I understand unrestricted, we can spend on
But,
anything.
but I could easily provide percentages. I think it's a great idea. Thank you. Okay. So just, what are we looking at as we finish up estimated actuals and are going to our next year's budget? So as I said, fiscal year ends June 30th. We close the purchase order date on April 26th. Like in theory, there's like 1 month and a week left of school. And so all the instructional supplies were already purchased, what we needed. Obviously, we are still purchasing anything for emergency, for safety, for M&O. I mean, it doesn't, but you need to start closing down your purchase orders so you can estimate what is being spent for the year. We look at all our expenditures really closely. We also, for estimated actuals, look at the allocations because the state changes them up on some of the restricted resources of how much have we gotten so much this year. And then the LCFF revenue is estimated and updated. That's the ADA when P2 is certified. And that's the presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Diane?
We asked our questions during it.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Madam President?
All right.
Is it really important that the principals stick around for the rest of the fantastic action items?
No, they can go.
Stay if you like, but you're free to leave.
Take cake with you.
Leave the water.
All right.
Looking forward to estimated actuals this evening.
No hard hat.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't recognize you without your hard hat.
All right, so next we have 10.4, Measure B project update.
Yes, and John Navarro is with us tonight. And this is, it's just a brief update on Montañez Elementary. As we get closer to the opening, we wanted to share with you some photos of the progress that's going on. And I was gonna let you talk. I'll move the slides.
Okay. Great. Sorry. Yeah, for those who haven't been out to the site, we just wanted to highlight, the progress that's being made and what the site's looking like. So we just have some pictures from the last month or so, just highlighting that. So right now you get the exterior entry, just showing, the status of the buildings with the stucco on the buildings, color coded. The buildings still are going to get painted, which will match the color code. But you get a good feel for the look and for all the canopies and entry structures that will protect the openings for the coming and going. That view is like on the back of the kindergarten wing where the future playground structure will be going in their fenced-in yard. Again, that's the main entry, the structure to hold the metal roof that will protect the entryway at the drop-off in the front of the school. More progress on the back of the campus. That's the outline of where the kindergarten play structure will go inside that curved area. So you get a good feel. They've been working feverishly in the back of the campus, putting in all the new sidewalks that will go around the complete perimeter of the site. Smith Road has been widened to 2 extra lanes, so the frontage of the school is all paved. So now we just got to do the driveway entrances into our site. The city is working starting next month to do their work on Smith Road, so that'll be all going on during the summertime. Moving into the insides, the B wing and a portion of the A wing are almost completely finished inside. The carpeting in, the casework, marker boards, the projectors, the systems. So they put it in and then they covered up to protect it, to keep it clean, but those have come well along, and basically we're just waiting for power and gas to get everything fired up. The major restrooms in B&A are completely tiled, fixtures installed, the toilet partitions. Again, those are getting close to final cleanup and being ready when we move in. This is the B corridor. So again, the floors are all in. They're in protected. Frames for the doors are in. The doors will come next. The only thing left in the corridors is we got the laminate that goes on the walls for protection. But that'll be the last thing that goes in because they don't want to damage, during construction, any of those finishes. Moving on to the NPR, it's the ceiling structure, all the ductwork and ceiling and acoustical panels going in, the lighting going in. As of right now, the floor has actually been installed and is covered, and the new retractable theater seats arrived. So they'll start installing those next. This is the daycare facility, which is probably the last building that will be finished for the elementary school, but they're installing the drywall and the finishes, so it's coming along well too. And then moving forward with our move-in dates, we've got furniture delivery scheduled the June 25th through July 5th. So that's all ordered and it's going to be on its way. We're planning for the administration staff to move into the new admin area in the week of July 8th. And then the week of July 22nd, having the staff move in to get ready for the first day of school. So there's a lot of work to do, but it's been going really well and changes dramatically every day. Today was a big pave date. They paved the playground in the back of the school today. So, when one day it went from dirt to nice blacktop.
How did you guys possibly stay on schedule with the weather this year? It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's been an undertaking. I mean, you got I think a workable plan is the biggest thing. Having a reputable contractor with the manpower and the financing to really man it up and keep it going. So it's been a pretty remarkable project to date, and it's not without its challenges. And there's a lot of work to do, but you can just feel the where we are and how well things are being prepared. I know some of the administration, some of the staff has toured the facilities, and I think you get a good feeling, if you want to highlight what you've seen on some of your visits.
Yeah, I think one of the best decisions that we've made is to have John and our GM be the lead for what we're doing, and they've done a phenomenal job keeping us on schedule and also being our eyes and ears out there and making sure that we're getting a quality product that's going to last for 50 years, right?
Yeah.
At least. Awesome. Thank you, John. Any questions?
When is the last inspection going to happen when we're signed off by the powers that be?
It'll be a while because we're working on the elementary school for the opening, and then the middle school portion will follow. But we're thinking it's probably going to be September when they're completely punched out with the middle school portion of it. But you'll see a distinct divided line, from where that facility is. But all the street improvements, all the sidewalks, all the fencing will be in for the opening of school, and then they'll be working in specific areas within that boundary.
Right on. Great job. Exciting. Thank you.
Are we on budget?
I had one more slide. Sorry, I just wanted to share that there's just at Bristow Middle School, we're actually adding some additional cabinetry this summer, and we're upgrading the PE offices, which are the other projects we're trying to finish up right now.
Is that from a donation from Emil?
Yeah, they got rid of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like Packbell Park, 10 years, and then we're looking for a new donor.
And were you asking if we're on budget?
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are we on
Yes,
budget?
we are on budget, yeah.
Great.
All right. Thank you, John. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Have fun. John's off to Disneyland.
Maybe next time we'll put you first.
Have fun.
Just do it in closed session.
All
Next is 10.5, update on the LCAP process, timeline, and feedback.
Yeah, so we've been having this before you, board. So what you see before, again, is the draft goals. You see all the feedback from the different stakeholder groups that exist throughout the district, from parents, students, staff, and that feedback will be used. And in June, we'll bring you back a draft of the goals based on changes that are made as a result of that feedback, as a two-part process for approval of that, along with the budget in June. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Perfect. No questions at this time? All right. Okay, and then we're moving to 10.7, approval of 2024-2025 initial classified staffing allocations.
Yeah, what you have here tonight is our classified staffing allocations. Primarily, this is Ike Montanez Elementary School.
If there are no questions, I move that we approve 2024-25 initial classified staffing allocations.
I will second that.
Is this, you guys moved a little bit too quick, but this includes the recruitment beyond our inter-district, right? Does this include other, this is all in general. I thought it was just for the new school coming up.
This is classified staff district-wide.
Yep.
And primarily, this is Ike Montanez. Anything that would be added additionally from here on out, you would see on the personnel report.
Okay, I withdraw my question. Thank you.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. 10.8, approval of resolution 2024-15.
This, the district completed with Wolpert Incorporated, the vendor that does the justification fees study, and we had the public hearing for it. This is done every other year as required by the state allocation board to increase the developer fees. And 60 days after the board approves it, that goes into effect.
I'm assuming there's a certain formula that they use. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So for example, yeah. So our district gets 70% and Liberty Union gets 30%. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was asking. Thank you.
We share.
Figured. If there's no questions, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 10.8, which is resolution 2024-15.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. 10.9, first reading of board policy, board bylaw, administrative regulation exhibit.
Board, before you, you have updates to policies that are mandated by law changes. And so I want to acknowledge Nicole Clevin, who does a great job with the summaries, putting them up front. If you have any questions about them, we can answer them. Otherwise, they will appear next month for approval.
Awesome.
All right. And moving on to Board 11, board member comment, future agenda items.
I just have a question on when we're going to hear an update on the equity audit.
An update on the equity audit is when is that one coming back?
Yeah, like the plan, the strategy, et cetera. I would like to get an update on that next month.
I think it is
Right.
June. Yep.
Yeah.
And Dana, could you just check with the city? They were working on grants. I did receive notification that they do not, nobody apparently does school guards or crossing guards, but they said there may be a couple more they were working on. And I've tried to follow up on my own, but haven't really gotten the.
I'll follow up from our crossing guard discussion.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Anyone else?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, this meeting is adjourned at 9:45 PM. The next regular board meeting will be held on June 12th, 2024 at 6 PM.
Don't we have 2 in June? 2 meetings?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's the state of California requires it as part of your budget process. It's a 2-part. So
So I'm going to have to right here.
depending on the number of questions the